The Dallas Mavericks and Washington Wizards have agreed to a big trade. The Mavericks are trading Anthony Davis and Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum for Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Brannan, Marvin Bagley III. And the Mavericks will also receive, I believe, two first round draft picks. Yeah, they're going to receive two first round draft picks from the Wizards and three second rounders, which is actually pretty good when you look at it because a dummy, as I call Anthony Davis, is not really worth that many draft picks at his age now. He's above the age of 30 and he's injury prone, so you're not going to get a team crazy enough to trade 3 or 4 picks for him, but you got two first round picks, which is pretty good. I wonder if those two first round draft picks are lottery protected though, because if they're not lottery protected, they probably won't be that high. But if they are I meant to say if they are not lottery protected, they would actually be high picks. But if they're lottery protected, then there's a limitation on how high the pick is. But either way, it's good to get two first rounders and three second rounders. Usually second rounders don't amount to anything most of the time. I know some people say, well, look at Jokic or some of these other second rounders that turned out to be big, but it's very rare, even though they hype it up a lot. The most important thing is to get the first round picks. They did that. Now the role players that they swapped with each other, it's really a wash, for being honest. I would say Marvin Bagley is a solid player. So that's something the Mavericks can be looking forward to utilizing with having him. And Chris Middleton is now old, but maybe he'll be good with Cooper Flagg's ability to generate doubles and triple teams that he can thrive being wide open for threes. So he might actually fit in their system, but I don't know how long he's under contract when you look at it. And when you look at the Mavericks side, I mean the Wizards side of it, they got Anthony Davis and they got a few solid role players in D'Angelo Russell, Exum, and Hardy. So that helps on the depth perspective. And I guess maybe the Wizards are hoping that when Anthony Davis can play, I don't know if he's going to come back this season or next season. They probably prefer him to come back next season since they're not trying to get into playoffs, I believe. That I think they're tanking to get a high pick. Let me just look at where they are in the Eastern Conference. Yeah, they're second to last, so they're definitely going to try to get the best pick available. I would definitely believe that, top 3. So they wouldn't want Anthony Davis to come back anyways. And I think this is really for next year when they get a full training camp with Trae Young and Anthony Davis, that there's probably hopes within the organization that they can make a playoff push next year. That's what I would think this would be all about, that they're hoping Anthony Davis can be the key piece that gets them to the playoffs. Now, with the Mavericks, I think they just had given up on a dummy in the sense that they knew this guy's injury prone. He's not going to be able to help them in the short term or the long term, if we're being honest, because Anthony Davis always gets like injuries that keeps him out every year for like 20 to 30 games. So this is not a guy you can rely on the short term or the long term. So it was better to get rid of him while his value was still somewhat high, that you can get a decent return, because if you dragged it out until like next year, you probably don't even end up with 2 first round picks. You may get like just one and just like 1 second round pick, because I think Anthony Davis's value depreciates every year due to his injury problems. That's why it was important to get rid of him as soon as they could. Plus, the Mavericks, I believe this season, they're better off not going to the playoffs. Granted, they are not too far from being in the play-in. They're in 12th place right now in the West. However, you would prefer them to continue to tank, because this year's draft is supposed to be a good draft. I think for both of these teams, it's really about next year, and these moves really help them to focus on their goals for the future. I'm going to say the Mavericks won this trade only because of the draft picks. I give them the slight edge. but it might also be a break-even trade where both teams really get what they wanted and they needed. If the Wizards are able to get into playoffs with Anthony Davis, then this is also a win for them. So it could be a situation where both teams break even, but I don't have anything else to say about this.